From a Chevy Suburban in Florida that was pit maneuvered several times before finally pinned down by police vehicles, to a Suzuki rider in Georgia who played with officers until an off-duty cop caught him by surprise, and a GMC Yukon in Atlanta that fled at high speed until luck ran out and crashed in the middle of the road. These are three insane, high-speed police chases you wouldn't believe if they weren't caught on camera. Welcome to Chase Point. April 2021, in Micanopy, Florida, a deputy watching traffic near I-75 saw a gold Chevy Suburban run a stop sign as it came off the interstate and turned right onto County Road. The vehicle struck a curb, veered into the opposite lane, and fled as the deputy activated his lights and siren. The pursuit began in a parking lot and continued onto County Road 234, where the suspect tossed a Terrapin cryosphere alcoholic drink out the window, a move that usually signals panic and an attempt to hide evidence, while also hinting at possible impairment that makes the situation even more serious. The suspect, 33-year-old Matthew Martin Richardson, drove recklessly at high speeds through a construction zone, while repeatedly giving Deputy McGuigan the middle finger. Behavior that suggests he was either not in the right state of mind or deliberately provoking law enforcement to apprehend him. The deputy initially stayed calm, but then attempted several pit maneuvers on Richardson's vehicle. But he managed to break free and accelerate away, realizing that the situation was no longer a game. The suspect headed back northbound and deliberately rammed Deputy McGuigan's vehicle, an act that clearly crossed the line, turning the pursuit from reckless driving into serious aggression against law enforcement. Driving recklessly and striking officers while more police join the pursuit only makes things worse. The smarter choice is to stop escalating, because outrunning them simply isn't possible. Another deputy attempted to deploy stop sticks, but they were unsuccessful. Additional law enforcement, including 2 FHP deputies, joined the chase as it moved on to Chilaka Boulevard in Micanopy, and eventually back southbound on Highway 441, where the pursuit was close to its end and the suspect's luck finally ran out. Deputy Stevenson eventually executed another pit maneuver that succeeded. The suspect attempted to escape, but multiple police vehicles boxed him in, allowing officers to apprehend Mr. Richardson without further incident. He now faces charges for fleeing police, assaulting an officer, driving with a suspended license, reckless driving, and a probation violation from Citrus County. On April 14, 2024, in DeKalb County, police cruisers traveling south on Candler Road near Flat Shoals observed a blue and gray 2020 Suzuki motorcycle with no tag, driving recklessly, performing wheelies and weaving through traffic along the lane lines. As officers approached Candler Road over I-285, they saw the motorcycle stop at a red light and weave between cars to the front. Heavy traffic prevented troopers from boxing it in. When the light turned green, emergency lights were activated to make a stop. The rider first appeared to comply, but then sped off, starting a pursuit. The pursuit stayed within about 20 miles per hour, but the motorcycle was ridden on sidewalks, against oncoming traffic, and ignored traffic signals at several intersections. Even if the speed wasn't extreme, using sidewalks and the wrong side of the road shows a complete disregard for public safety. That kind of behavior often turns a chase into a serious hazard for pedestrians and other drivers. The suspect appeared to be playing with officers, riding without panic or excessive speed. That kind of behavior will surely lead to regret, because law enforcement is not something to play with, and they do not tolerate this behavior. As the pursuit continued along Candler Road, the rider made several U-turns and cut through private parking lots in an effort to evade troopers. But he was unknowingly getting close to an end he could never have anticipated. Once again, in an attempt to make a U-turn, the rider tried to cross a raised median but got stuck. an off-duty Clayton County Sheriff's deputy, who was in his personal vehicle nearby, saw the rider struggling to free the bike. The deputy stepped out, tackled the rider off the motorcycle, and brought both the rider and the bike to the ground. The rider was identified as Stephen Ferguson, whose license was suspended, and the motorcycle also had a canceled registration and no valid insurance. Ferguson was taken to the DeKalb County Jail, where he was charged with fleeing and eluding, along with several other traffic and license violations. On May 2023 in Atlanta, a police officer was stopped at a traffic light on the I-75 ramp when he saw a black GMC Yukon drive through the red light. The officer turned on his emergency lights to pull the vehicle over, but the driver did not stop, and the chase began. The suspect was driving erratically, weaving through lanes at high speed. It appeared as though he was in a hurry, but that was no excuse for such reckless driving. Despite the suspect's high speed and attempts to evade traffic, the trooper stayed close and never lost sight of the vehicle. The chase continued south on I-75 until the suspect exited onto Cleveland Avenue, where the situation was coming to a dangerous end. Finally, the GMC struck the rear bumper of another vehicle. After the collision, the driver and passengers got out and fled on foot. The pursuing officer remained at the crash scene to provide aid to the occupants of the damaged vehicle. With help from the Atlanta Police Aviation Unit, the suspect and a passenger were located in a nearby wooded area. The driver, identified as Troyshawn Jarve Porter, and the passenger were taken into custody. After medical evaluation, the passenger was released from the hospital with no charges, but the driver was charged with multiple offenses, including failure to obey a traffic control device, failure to yield to an emergency vehicle, felony fleeing, reckless driving, improper passing, following too closely, hit and run, and obstruction. And that's a wrap on today's pursuit. High-speed chases aren't just thrilling. They're incredibly dangerous and tough to execute. It's a reminder of the intense work law enforcement puts in to keep our roads safe. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. Stay safe, respect the law, and always drive responsibly.